indicators. This is a tutorial lecture, and since we have already extended our sessions half an hour, so somewhere we are actually minimizing the time by 15 minutes. So maybe to start from here, original time was till 5:45 or 5:30. 5:30. So we'll try to wrap it up by 5:30, 35 or 40 at maximum. Okay. So and some of the estimations I'll make it, which is usually done, which is usually estimated by scholars who are working for the trade indicators. Okay, coming to India's trade patterns, etc. First of all, we must know some of the concepts, which in both the lectures we already discussed a bit. We said how far India is exhibited with different indicators of different sectors. Here we will first of all discuss the very basic estimation. The basic estimation means how far India is actually opened up, how far India is, exhibiting its openness to other countries, or any country is it open enough. So key indicators will be including one on openness index, second on intensity, then which we explain called RCA, revealed comparative cost advantage. Then some other indicators are like your gravity model, etc. A gravity model and its estimation require at least of half an hour. I think that's not suggested at this moment, given our preoccupied structure, and then the timing is already defined. It's going live, so we have to confine within that limit. Okay. So coming to the first one, and then so Urmi is going to share you those basic codes in between. You have Stata installed your system. Stata. Those who don't have, just raise your hand. Stata. Oh, okay. So, Gurumi, you have Stata. Okay. You can pass it. Oh, okay. What you do? We assume that you are carrying data, and in our lab we have professional version. But anyway, at this moment, you just try to note it. Once the session is over, we'll help you. Okay. Now, I assume that probably you know this, so we didn't prepare correctly. Anyway, I'm 100% sure that with these codes, I'll clarify bit by bit and explain you. This is not that exhaustive, very basics we are starting today, and Pavel will be extending the core course of estimating advanced models. Okay, so starting with trade indicators, like I must know what is whether export wise a country is performing better or import wise country is performing better, whether a sector is performing better or another sector. So some comparison or estimates are required. So indicators, we mean that how to assess some index or ratio as compared to some base category. And then we'll monitor their flow and patterns across regions or segments. So they are very basic. I'm not discussing much on it. The first one to mention, which largely people use while deriving results for the international context, that is called trade openness. Okay, so trade openness means what is the total trade divided by GDP, total GDP as a ratio. So trade divided with trade by GDP into 100 is your trade openness index. or simply GDP divided by trade openness is that means export loss import divided by GDP. Total export value and total import value divided by GDP. And okay, before going to explain these, let's explore some of the database which are useful for calculation. And since you are from IFT, I'm sure you must have more exposure to trade data sets. Like Prowess, we have Prowess, which we have in our institute. Prowess, we have ASI is an open source. Government of India usually provides, and EPWRA, and another one is Bloomberg. You have IFT. IFT must be having because of many financial estimations are required. We have Bloomberg also. Then some basic indicators are derived from UN Comtrade, isn't it? And India Comtrade also, it is subsections of these. So these used to be the core. Otherwise, there are many other indicators like world development indicators. Those are working with environmental issues. They also follow that, and there are many such data sets. But I am not referring all. I'm only referring the very basic at this moment. That is trade openness from UN Comtrade. Okay, so like this. Start with this is the UN Comtrade page. You can trade analysis, statistics, data. Otherwise UN. This is on-pair data set. UN Comtrade. After this, I think something take half an hour for gravity will have will cover in another session of mine. We'll cover. We are not going to leave. We'll cover in another session. Okay, for sure. So many data availability, data analysis from publication year. Then if you click on all by their HS classification, why those if you explore, you will get the data. I will just tell you how we have actually derived the data from UN Comtrade and how we are actually sharing with you for calculating some of the indices. Okay, and more on these will be discussed once some of the theories, relevant theories are covered. Many other information will also be discussed with you. So at this moment, like trade openness, I have to first of all, for example, EPWRA, it is those who are doing for the first time. This is also paid one. It's not free. EPWRA. This provides time series, India time series data. You have to go to the external sector, then start calculating. I don't know whether it will be working in this place or not. But let's see. India's foreign trade, for example, we want these exports figures and imports figures. You can get this total sector wise, some of the specific sector wise, or total. This total, and here we can specify as well. So here from which year to which particular year we want, all the data can be downloaded. Okay, those are doing for the first time. I thought I'll share with you, and then so first one, as I just said, is this trade openness index. I think the basic data she is going to share or might have shared with you, and that folder have you shared told me? Shared. Okay. So what are the trade indicators? I think I've mentioned. Other aspects such as very basic estimations like export propensity and trade intensity index, and RCA, Balasan RCA, which we have been referring in our lecture. will also be useful. Where some extension to the RCA is actually intra-industry trade index by Global and Lloyd, and then regional trade shares, etc., can also be estimated. Starting with export propensity, I'm actually keeping it given the time post I didn't get the animated one or the many other factor, figures of other countries, how they are comparable. I could have done that, but it is somewhere I'm not getting sufficient time for this. But in my understanding, this is very basic. So can it be clarified to easily? Okay, so coming to this, export propensity, I just wanted to calculate that how far our exportable sector the is or the sectors which are useful for exports of commodities out of GDP. What is its share? Hmm. Like initially, I said trade openness. It is the total trade divided by GDP into 100. So here we are saying it's the ratio of exports to GDP as a percentage. And then we can calculate, and I think it is we probably have not done it. Anyone can do that with basic Excel calculation, but in data, how you write it can also be explained. When we are saying export out of GDP as a percent in a country or in a specific time period, this particular formula is actually neglecting one of the problems, that is re-exports. So re-exports, this index is actually biased upward. When there are re-exports, it's actually still added in the exportable sector. Okay? So that should be corrected in any advanced method. So just adding exports of different sectors in a year out of GDP is not sufficient enough to understand the export intensity. Okay, this is the one. Then we'll discuss about trade intensity index. One is said trade propensity. Second one is intensity. How intense it is, starting from from its export. Don't get confused with this with refuel comparative advantage. I'll start with refuel first, then we can go through this. When we say um, country is experiencing comparative advantage, that means the country has, in the particular sector, the country can able to produce its its product at a cheaper cost as compared to another. That country can take advantage in terms of its cost advantage. So, but when we are saying a country has net advantage in terms of cost and the country can take advantage, it is called country's comparative advantage. But that doesn't mean we're actually comparing its net value in terms of comparing other countries' context. So. So in that case, for example, if you are saying exportable sector, we are exporting from A to B, country A to B, of export of IH, IH sector to J country. So divided by its total exports of the IH country. Okay, total exports of IH countries. Divided by export of the IH world, exports of IH world, okay, to out of the total exports of the world. Hmm. So ith commodity and its export to the world, and out of the total exports of the world. So that way, how far as a ratio a particular country is or here actually ith segment of the jth country out of the total exports of the ith segment divided by the world exports of that ith segment out of the total world exports. So in that case, we can map how much we are comparatively better as compared to the world performance. That's called rebuild comparative advantage. Okay, it's not just comparative advantage between two countries, so it's called rebuild comparative advantage. Whereas you see trade intensity index, it's not related to exports per se. It's also when you say intensity, we are also comparing its imports. You look at this, just compare that with this xiz divided by xi divided by mj divided by mw. So xij is in the exports from country is to country j. Exports from country I to country J. It's a destination being mapped from of the exports out of the total exports of country I. So as a ratio, how IX product is actually performing in terms of exports divided by the total imports of the J country out of the world's imports. So here the reference point is J country, IX country is exporting to J country. And then initially we check that how much it exports with the JF country. Okay, how much of the exports of the IH country to JF country. So JF countries exports IH to JF as compared to JF world imports. First countries, there are two countries, X to I to J. Okay, so we say how much export from I to J as compared to the jth imports of the from the world. Okay, what is the intensity of the exports as compared to another country's imports? Okay, so that is the interpretation of it. Exports from country I to country J out of its total exports divided by where we have imported and where we have exported, and that becomes our export, and that becomes J countries imports. So individual countries imports exports as a component of import divided by world import to the J country. Okay, so that defines where how much you are exporting as compared to their total imports. Okay, so that's called trade intensity index. We'll estimate from the real data. And so in a couple of other things to specify here, that if I check these, the value varies from 0 to infinity. So 0 means, here look at this export from ith country to the jth country. Ith country to jth country might be 0. So the total value might be 0. And then in the denominator, this might go to 0, but this cannot be 0. And the jth country might not have any 0 component. Might have 0 component as import. This one, jth country might have 0 component, 0 entry as import. So this can be 0, this can be also 0 at the extreme value. So when this is 0, the one extreme value is 0. When this is 0, another extreme value is infinite. Isn't it? But this cannot be 0. World import cannot be 0. Isn't it?
How we use trade intensity index for what purpose?
the meaning is intensity. That means, while a country is exporting to another country wants to specifically analyze that whether these exports is actually contributing, or how much this export is contributing to another country's imports. So it's an analytics, it's an analysis how far our export is contributing to their imports. Now getting my point? So if our export is too much, that means our country is actually dependent on us, isn't it? So, like, in the recent time, just after COVID-19, around 2020, as I mentioned in my previous lecture, that India started restricting, indirectly through popular media of Chinese product and then maybe another product just to promote, Make in India program or to produce on our own. But that was not that effective, only because India's own export segment is not that good. We cannot replace our own products. If we stop completely all the imports, it's very difficult to sustain our productivity, right?
So we can in fact, the trade intensity index of China is very high for India.
It's very high. So we are actually dependent from China. Okay. So then next one, this is a simple indicator understanding. It's propensity of export out of the. When propensity of export is explained, you are simply comparing with the GDP. And when it is openness, again it is actually total trade, not only export, it's total trade. Then when it comes to RCA is actually it's related to your export as compared to the world export for a particular segment. It's not your export as compared to import of that country. Your export as compared to the total imports of your destination country. So intensity of your export cannot be measured in the RCA. Okay, getting my point? So if wherever your intensity is very high, that means you, this country and another country would have very strong relations. At least there is a possibility of farming union. The BRICS case we are discussing, wherever trade intensity is very high, there is high possibility of defining further, RTAs, or other integration meetings or collaborations. Okay, okay. So far as intensity is concerned, we are mapping with our destination countries and its imports. Whereas RCA is concerned, it's not just the comparative advantage, it is actually the revealed comparative. We are actually comparing with the world figure, not just the comparative advantage, it is the revealed. We have to compare the world export ratio with respect to their country. Okay? When it comes to intra-industry trade, it is, if you remember, IIT J 1 minus x minus m divided by x plus n. So, so first clarifications of this is like here two diagram is to be country A and B. This is as compared to this one. When A to B exporting one product and importing another product completely, this is commodity X, this is commodity Y. If we are just mentioning, then that's called inter-industry trade. But when we say it's not just exporting, also it is importing. we are also importing. So on the same segment also, if we say it's all exported as well as imported, then this component is actually explained as this component is explained as IIP. Okay, so intra-industry trade. Now, why I say any sector where we are exporting, if we are also a sector or industry or the firm where we are exporting, also the same industry and its product, maybe at two-digit level, we are also importing, then in that case, if it is inter-industry trade, start with if it is completely inter, not IIT, it's inter-industry trade. That means either X, this part is 0. If we are exporting, importing of that sector is 0. Okay. So this is our total trade, and this is only X. Import is suppose 0. That means import is 0. That means how much? Export minus import minus X. Export minus import minus X. So that is basically how much? X cancel. It is M by M equal to 1. Extreme value. I say if it is 100%, 100% export but no import in that segment, then IIT value is equal to 1. When we say it's the reverse, this is the same amount is also exported, same amount is imported on in the same sector or same industry. That means this side will get a value 0, isn't it? So 1 minus 0 is 1. 1 minus 0 is 1. And so
what do we have on the numerator? Is it a particular goods export and import on the numerator?
numerator, right?
Is it a particular product?
Any industry, specific industry, ith industry to jth country.
So we are taking the subscript.
IJ. Maybe J stands for the jth country. So ith export, ith import, simply ith import. This is also I, this is I. Okay. So in the same ith industry, we have initially we say 100% export, no import. So that means this is 0. This divided this is cancelled out. So finally, m divided by m, xi is here. M divided m is equal to 1. No. Okay, just give me a moment. This is xi plus mi minus xi. Okay. Mi divided by xi plus mi. So sorry. So mi divided by total trade mi. So this is the case. Mi divided by this. No, imagine a situation. I'll just give you a basic example. Then we'll calculate it with the okay. First of all, we are actually exporting. We are not importing. So when we are exporting but not importing in the sector, that means IIT value should be I minus x minus m and divided by this one. If it is initially, if it is 100% export, okay. Here also we are saying we are not importing. This side you say so. This is 0. This is also 0, right?
Yes.
We didn't check that. This is also 0. So x divided by x is equal to 1. Alright, so I didn't check that. Hence, so this divided by this is equal to 1. 1 minus 1 equal to 0. Okay, just a reverse instead. This should be 0. Is it okay? That is why there are some problems. So we said
you means higher intra, sorry, no intra-industry.
No intra-industry trading. Understood? Because the extreme value we have just replaced only export, no import in that sector. Only export, no import in that sector. So no import means this is 0, this is 0. Okay, so 0, this is 0. So xi divided by xi equal to 1, 1 minus 1 equal to 0. So this proves the fact that there is actually zero intra-industry trade. As per our argument, it was also correct. There is no intra-industry trade. And when it is same 100%, initially we say only export, no import. When we say actually there is no, I mean 100 export equal to import, export equal to import in the same sector or same industry, that means this will be 0. So it will be 0. So this will be how much? This side is 0. This is actually xi plus mi divided by xi plus mi. Okay, so another extreme value is equal to 1. Understood? When I say the entire thing is actually 0, not just this one is 0, we are saying the entire difference is 0. Entire difference is 0. So what is the interpretation of the entire difference means? The export of the same industry is matched exactly by import of the same industry. When this is 0, so numerator is equal to denominator, then the value equal to 1. Understood? Is there any trouble?
Suppose in one sector,
Uh,
the country is having zero intra-industry, and another sector it is having high intra-industry. Then can we say that like a Hexagon theory works or not?
okay, whether Hexagon theory
Works or not? How will we?
Hexagon theory is all about whether they are exporting or not importing based on their availability of resources. So, but nowhere the case they are exporting. Okay, comparative advantage works. Okay, okay. In one segment, I 0, and another segment it is there, some positive value as well. Still there will be trade, and Ricardian theory works, isn't it? It should work because of the fact that in another segment it is working, even if within the industry, even if it is 0, still it is working in another industry.
Like it is said, specialization. Means in this product we have complete specialization. In this product incomplete specialization.
No, that's not the argument at this moment. At this moment, we are actually only emphasizing whether product substitutions is possible or not, whether products are differentiated enough or not, and based on the differentiation of the products, the same segment of the product or within the same classification, usually standardized through HS classification, harmonized standard code classification. So at certain digit level, when we say it is mobile segment, when it is FMCG segment, within the FMCG segment, we are saying export of that value. Also import in the same segment is also same value. Are you getting? Maybe any example we can take detergent varieties. Detergent as a product, product attached with HS classification at 2-digit level. At 2-digit level, the export value is perfectly matched by import value. For example, so 100% matching. I am actually trying to calculate the extreme values. 100% matching is there. India is exporting detergent. India is also importing detergent, and their value are same, more or less same. So, what is the meaning of it? That means we are having 100% intra-industry trade in that segment or in that product unit. Got it? So, how to prove that 100% means the value should be found. When I say x equal to m, x is equal to m, that means numerator is equal to denominator. So, the value is equal to 1. This is what I just proved. And when the reverse occurs, only x or only m, that means the numerator x minus m equal to 0. Okay. So when it is 0, x minus m equal to 0. So the the IIT value is actually equal to 1. I have to use again. There are some confusion. Okay. Uh, when this xi is equal to mi, xi is equal to mi, we are confirming the fact that India and its export and import basket have same value. In the particular HS segment, HS classification unit code, export value is matched by import value. That means it's 100% intra-industry trade. So this value, this distance, this difference is 0. And so hence IIT equal to this one in the numerator, this one divided by this one is equal to 1. So IIT's value equal to 1 when it is 100% intra-industry trade. Okay, done. When we know that from the formula, this is GL formula, global and Lloyd formula. When we say exports and import, there are difference value. Other extreme is we are only exporting, we are not importing that segment. We are importing other segment. So import is 0. So this is actually xi divided by this. So xi minus, so this is actually xi cancelled. M is also 0. So the other extreme value is 1. So 1 and 0. Okay. Sorry, this one is xi divided by this one is 1. This is 1, 1 minus 1 is 0. So when there is no inter-industry trade, IIT value is 0. When there is 100% inter-industry trade, IIT value is 1. Clear now? Okay, we are going to estimate this with the real data. Another one is called popular indices people use in their work is called regional trade shares. RTS, where the regional distance, regional destinations should be carefully emphasized. So basically, we start export and import of the source country, and D stands for here is the destination country, and then in the numerator it is about the particular country. It's basically here you can see it is the source country. A stands for the source country, 2D for the destination country, and W is the set of countries in the world, and W and rest are same. A stands for the source where exports are made. So when we wanted to check the regional trade shares, we have to specifically mention to which country we are actually exporting. So out of the total world exports to the particular country. So these are common indicators used in the estimations. Gravity, I'm not explaining much at this moment. It's not just discussing the flows from one country to another country. It's actually emphasizing the Newtonians, Newton's law of gravitation, and it's originally with trade and migration, and it calculates using the different dimensions. Okay, two countries, for example, whether they have any commonalities or not, in which segment they have commonalities, how far they are close. Okay, gravitation means it is the interpretation is how far they are concentrated, how far they are closed. So G is the constant, and MR maybe MI is the GDP of country one, and MJ is country another one. Okay, where trade is taking place, and D is the actually the distance. Okay, distance. Sometimes distance is also taken as a square of distance. So what is the logic behind it? Whether just GDP you are going to take it, or we have to convert it into log GDP. What is the, or we need to scale down so that estimation is going to be better. So just one answer is not there to clarify. We have to take time. So now since you have the data, let's estimate the basic one. We have taken the data from UN complete, and I'm just going to open. So you go on to that. 11 minute I think हो जाएगा. So here is the data window. Those who are operating for the first time, I think I've already exceeded the time. It is 5:41 in maximum of 2 to 3 minutes. Or if you are intervening, 5 minutes at maximum will bind up. Okay. So till that time, startup window, those who are operating for the first time, need not worry. Since you have come to this campus, anything is possible within 5 days time. So I have my own recorded videos available in YouTube for Stata, how to operate Stata from the scratch. From the scratch. It's not for the advanced users. So for the beginners, that will be helping like anything. Okay? Like anything is the right word. If you don't work, it will also help you like anything. Okay. Okay, come back. So we have the data. I'm not going to explain step by step. If you are confused, but you will get to know from those recording. So I'm going to load the data, but for that I have to operate and estimate. So most important indicator way to estimate is through the do file or the operator. We can do it directly. So I have the data which we have shared to you. It is my do file is here. This one has already been shared with you. This one already been shared with you. No. This one code okay, not yet shared, but this data has been shared. Export propensity. आ गया ना? अच्छा ठीक. So simply we will get the data about export propensity. So it is available here. Open that data directly, and you will get to you can able to calculate. All files, okay, it is here. So so export propensity data, this is directly taken. It's not going to open.
Gravity model is not shared.
Gravity model will actually work once we cover the theory. Okay, we will actually work with the gravity model. So we cannot do it directly. Stata, okay. Export, na? Where is that? Import to Excel file. Spreadsheet. Here. So we can directly open using the spreadsheet, export propensity data. I have the habit to open the stata file. We need to include the. That has to be defined very clearly to data. Otherwise, data cannot actually read it, isn't it? Right? This data is with us. I have the habit to actually run with the do file and DTA files. So usually don't work. And okay. So now what we do, we will estimate as per with the command. I'm just going to tell you, I've already clarified some of the basic steps. Simply you can clearly describe the data, and this will give you uh, where in which format the data is. Here in integer, export in double format, and then still and then GDP is also in percentage, double format. Still these are useful for calculations. Okay, this format can be calculated. Then simply, since these are not in not in what is called the format, non-integer format, that's called not in limited format. The exact word is called uh, Float data can also be calculated. What is that one? Red one, red colorized string data, not in string format. So you need not bother with it. Okay. So these are not in string data. String data means your data is recorded in identifier format. Like your PAN card number, like your Aadhaar card number. Okay, so by default, some of the bigger large scale data sources record the data in string format. Okay, so in that case, we are supposed to de-string, but at this moment, it is in integer or in quantitative format. So we can estimate using. So I'm simply using this command. Otherwise, you can do it export divided by GDP. This is what we have already mentioned. So I can run directly. Okay, and can directly run it and explain. So, so this is in percentage at this moment. Export propensity is in percentage. We have also why percentage is given, not just a ratio. We have also converted into percent. This is the command for percentage. Next line is for percentage. Otherwise, you could have typed like generate, propensity, export propensity, or import propensity. Just the reverse formula should be reversed. Okay, or then you can work to save our time. I just did that. The next one is to analyze with certain basic graphs. Two-way table, we can do it, and there are many other way of interpretation. I'm going to run basic command, one or two commands, but then I'll leave it to you and we can check on another day whether you have progressed or you have checked it on your own. Okay, so it's still calculating. So here is our export propensity over time. We have the data here for some limited years. We have downloaded the data for limited years, and export propensity over the time. So there have been a major fall, and after that some extent of price. Okay, why I did this? Just to show you that the same process, if you work using data, you can calculate. Okay, and we are sharing this data code here, the basic data code here, and I'm not going to repeat for you to calculate each of them. Simply copy and paste and link the data. I'm sure you can able to calculate. Okay, and if you're facing difficulties on another lecture, we can take up and clarify. Including also, we are going to explain gravity model. Once some of the theories related to gravity model is done by Professor Pavel, he is also explaining some extent of sector specific, concentrations, etc. Once that is done in one of my lectures, I'll be explaining this for sure. Okay, so other like trade intensity, the same way you have to simply generate, copy and paste and run it, you will get the result. Okay, and the concept wise and interpretation, I have already done it. And this one I am not operating gravity model. We are going to do it in our next class. Is it okay? For some of you, those who have done data, our team will help you once this session is over. Okay, with this, I think I have some freedom to stop here.
Why export propensity is going down?
Why it is going down? Actually, we are not mentioning my country at this moment and not mentioning anything. Just downloaded some of the years. So I can give you a number of reasons why it is going down, but better to attach to a country and a sector. Then only our interpretation is going to be better. Just I calculate. Okay. Try to understand that. Initially, I just calculated how you can also calculate, but the interpretation requires more qualitative or more important variables. Is it okay? It's very obvious over the time it can be declining, can be rising, but why it is going down? Okay, good question. I'm not denying your question. Export propensity, we say your export to a destination as compared to the world import to that country. How far your export is creating some changes to another country's imports. If it is going down, that means another country is not going to depend on you. That's the interpretation. Why it is going down? The country might have increased some taxes, might not have promoted your exports. There are various reasons, right?
Productivity goes down.
Productivity goes down, isn't it? There are n number of reasons. Okay, guys, if you have any queries at this moment, you can continue. Otherwise, I think it's better to stop. We have already explained all that, so you can close it. Okay. So that's all for today. So tomorrow we have again 4